boys, huh?
All right, you know the squad that we have every week, but you notice we have an empty chair at the end of the desk. We have Taylor Lewan. We don't see Will Compton. For an explanation as to why, we must go back in time to last week. Michigan versus Nebraska. Major stakes. Can you tell the world exactly what is at stake?
The loser has to shave their entire head and their face. The good thing about my hair, unlike Will's, is I'm really confident mine's going to come back.
But this is going to be a great game. I hope Michigan has a good one.
Get them going.
Snap, hand off to Marshall. He's got room. There he goes. Jordan Marshall to the house. Michigan comes to Nebraska and beats the Cornhuskers here in Lincoln, 30-27.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, time to pay the piper. There he is. In all his bold glory, the man is here.
Oh, man.
Will, you look very well done. Will Compton, shaved. Okay. There's a backstory to that one, too. Okay.
Boy.
All right. They
You look
never done
good,
that
buddy. He looks good, no?
It'll grow back before Nebraska beats a top 25.
That is questionable.
That is questionable.
I asked him this morning, what's it like? And he said, well, there's not a lot of maintenance, right? So that's kind of
Zero
nice.
maintenance. Laying your head on the pillow at night was life-changing. I didn't really know what to do when I was shampooing for the first time. I got a text from Kyle Long. Shout out Kyle Long. He said, go ahead and roll down the window, stick your head out. Friend of the show. Stick your head out like a dog. It feels amazing. Listen, I can see it in my wife's eyes. She hasn't said it yet, but I can see it. She's buying into it.
She's into it.
She's buying
She's into it.
Slowly but surely, she says, I love the hair more.
Rule number 2?
All right, the piper has been paid. We like it here. We got tons to get to. Let's roll some sports in the National Football League. The big story this weekend, maybe the most interesting game, is one that does not feel as though it has the highest stakes. Yesterday, head coach Brian Daboll explaining his decision of benching quarterback Russell Wilson and going instead with the rookie Jackson Dart against a tough Chargers defense on Sunday. The coach said the decision was his.
It's my decision. We're going with Jackson. We're going to get him ready to play this week and the remainder of the season. He's going to do everything he can. Russ will be the backup. I don't think any rookie quarterback is ever just ready to play. You put him in there because you think that he's done enough to show you that he can go out there and compete, and he's done that every step of the way. And that's why I made the decision.
Adam Schefter, take us behind the closed doors in the Giants building. What are we doing here?
It was always going to be Jackson Dart at some point in time. From the night that they drafted Jackson Dart, Brian Daboll got on the phone with him and said, we're counting on you. And he said that was going to be the best decision you make. Smart man. And so they've made the decision now because on Sunday night, the fans were booing Russell Wilson mercilessly. And they were cheering for Jackson Dart. And they're playing at home again. And so the energy in the stadium is going to be such that they needed to change the momentum, get a positive feeling going, and they went this way. There was one person in the league who said this to me this week, and I thought it was a fair analogy. They said it's almost like Brian Daboll's been sitting at the poker table in Las Vegas. He's down to one chip. He's taking his one chip and he's putting it in on Jackson Dart right now. And I think that's sort of where we're at with the New York Giants and Jackson Dart.
It's really interesting. There's so many tentacles to this, and I want to get Danny breaking down what we can expect from Dart on Sunday. But, Hawk, I thought you made a fascinating point in our meeting this morning that it might be someone who's not even in that building who has a factor here.
Throughout the season, we understood that Jackson Dart was going to play at some point. And to me, this feels earlier, especially coming off the game that Russell Wilson had against the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
But when you take a zoom out of the big picture and you look at what Daniel Jones is doing in Indianapolis, he's a top 3 quarterback, an MVP candidate. So now you look at the narrative and say, well, maybe he's better because he got out from underneath Brian Daboll, right? And so for him, he's like, I got to get something in there going. Otherwise, that's going to continue to have a snowball effect about what he can or can't be for a young quarterback that we know has a bunch of talent.
Do the Bussin guys think this is the last act of a desperate man, of a desperate coach?
I believe so. I think Daboll knows there's more days behind him there are in front of him at this point, and this is a last chip type of situation. It's a very unique move to do it against a top 10 defense coming in and a very hot offense as well. You kind of want to wait to the Saints, but I love the idea. Get him out there, get some juice going, over-celebrate the first down, see if you can operate the offense. Those are the things you're looking for in a game like that.
I think it's a worst-case scenario, though, for the quarterback and the organization. You know, when the moment of drafting him happens, it's like best case is they can get to November, they're somewhat flirting with 500, they're okay, so you get like some form of job security and he gets to sit a little bit. Now it's like, go save us. Go save the organization, go save the coach, go save the general manager. And we just don't have a lot of evidence that this works. That you think back to like Jared Goff and Jeff Fisher, Will Levis and Mike Vrabel. It just doesn't often happen where quarterback that we drafted early, you send them in some way during their first season, and all of a sudden everything is going to be fine. And that's the stress that's going to be left on Jaxson Dart. It's like, hey, you got to go be the savior for everybody with 14 games left.
Almost always, there are very few exceptions, but almost always when an organization says we're going to be patient, we're not going to act with a sense of urgency, they get impatient and they do act with a sense of urgency. Because they're in that spot that they drafted that guy to begin with. He is the savior. And as much as they want to delay that day and put it off, they can't help themselves.
Right. This is a perfect example of why more young quarterbacks are ruined than developed in the National Football League, because they're not on the same timetable. I said this yesterday, I'll say it again. The biggest mistake they make in football, and teams do it all the time, and it is so preventable that it drives me insane. If you don't marry up your timeline of the two most important people in your franchise, meaning your coach and your quarterback, you are destined to fail. You are doomed before you begin. Quarterback you're trying to develop, and a head coach on his last legs who clearly is coaching for his job. Marry those up. I'm not in the business of calling for people's jobs, but if you're starting all over again with a quarterback, then start all over again with a coach instead of putting the coach in a position where he has to, break glass 3 weeks into the season to try and save his behind. Go ahead, Will.
It's like, it's not the right situation for Jaxson Dart, but when you get that phone call and you get drafted on draft night, you kind of know what you're getting into. They went, 3-14 last year? Like, it's just the entire world is burning around the New York Giants, and Daboll is on borrowed time. This is kind of like, this is like Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace, where Qui-Gon Jinn is like, let me teach the boy. He has his quarterback. But the thing is, like, he's going to be excited. I think he's going to do well. He has no expectation. Go out there, command the offense, operate the offense well, pick the guys up. But also it's like I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about the game. And if you're Jaxson Dart, all you got to do is just let it hang. Just go out there, play. You're going to make mistakes. It's just all about how the guys rally around. You see how it was in preseason. Guys jumping, their chest pumping, they're doing everything. Like, just be excited. That's what people want to see.
Let me play his comments, and then Dan will get into it. Here was Jaxson Dart yesterday meeting with the press for the first time, talking about his mindset heading into his first start.
I don't really feel pressured. I feel like, pressure is given to those who play at a high level. And, the best players in the world are the ones that you are kind of involved with that word pressure. Yeah, you just got to make sure that you're prepared every day because, just the questions and, the situations that are being put on the quarterback. When you're watching film, you got to know exactly what you're talking about. You got to be on your, point blank period.
So that's a pretty concise explanation of what he needs to do. Dan.
Yeah, he doesn't have a hindrance at quarterback anymore, Brian Daboll. He's got to go creator, essentially. I think the two things coming out of school that you loved about him are, one, his presence was elite. It was elite, was the best in the class. And then also his ability to be strong in the pocket was the best in the class. You go back to college, his elite presence down in the red zone against Georgia, and it's 1, 2, 3, ball has to come out now versus tight coverage. That's NFL type of coverage. You got to have NFL type of placement in that. Did he do it in the preseason? Yeah, he saw that backside glance route. That ball's got to be placed right on that guy's face mask. He's going to have to move it in the front now that he's the starter. But that's the number one thing. The two thing was the pocket strength. Like, when he moved in the pocket and dealt with the pressure, it was the best. And he didn't run when he wanted to. He ran when he had to. And he often was strong with how he moved and kept his eyes up. And it wasn't I'm athletic so I can just go make a play. It was, I'm good enough to get away from the bad stuff and go make things into good. That's college. Did he do it in the pros? Where he's looking up top for a high-low, it's not there. And instead of just taking off because he can, climb the pocket, keep your eyes downfield, and so go see if you can make a play. And so you're seeing the things that I liked in college at least translate in the preseason. Different world in the regular season, but there's a lot athletically. That moment to me is everything with the neighbors jump. Juice, energy, excitement, hope. There was Russell's a great player. It felt like a weight on the offense. This should be a rocket ship to their offense.
And that's the other piece of this. He's got Malik Neighbors. When all else fails, just throw it in his general direction and hope something good happens.
I mean, that's the break glass in case of emergency situation. But for Jaxson Dart, you want a spark. Because when you're in the huddle, players know. They know if they don't have a chance for a first down. They know if they don't have a chance to win. And that's what you're hoping to give the locker room. Like, hey, here's the guy that's going to show something. Just show a little bit in this game, and it's going to give him the hope and juice and energy.
I'd also say it's not just, hey, Malik's down there somewhere throwing the football. Like, they have to do a better job of getting Malik touches early in this game. They haven't thrown Malik Neighbors a screen. That's one of the dumbest things I've heard all season. He doesn't have a screen pass. And get him moving horizontally. It doesn't have to be just vertical, go route, let's go throw a one-on-one ball. He's more of a dynamic player.
We roll along. Schefter here with Run the Hurry Up. Big injuries this weekend, starting with the quarterback in Washington. What's up with Jaden Daniels?
He was back at practice yesterday, Greeny, in a limited fashion. He said his knee feels better, but it'll be a doctor's decision about whether or not he plays on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. He's leaving it in the hands of others. He'll see what they say. If he can't go, Marcus Mariota would play again, and Marcus Mariota played very well on Sunday in the Commanders' victory over the Raiders. In that same game, the Commanders looked like they very well could be without Terry McLaurin, who suffered a quad injury on Sunday against the Raiders, left the game, has been undergoing additional testing on that quad, did not practice on Wednesday. If he doesn't practice again today, that would tell you that this is certainly trending in a direction in which the Commanders are unlikely to have Terry McLaurin on Sunday. But the Kansas City Chiefs are expecting to get back Xavier Worthy Sunday in a big game against the Baltimore Ravens. Worthy went down early in the season, third play of the season, friendly fire with Travis Kelce. Back in practice at full yesterday. And if he's listed in full on Wednesday, that tells you that he is tracking to play on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. The Chiefs offense could use more explosives, and it looks like they'll have that on Sunday in the form of Xavier Worthy.
All right, Schefter, that feels critical as we look ahead to this matchup between these two superstar quarterbacks. And the history here is impossible to ignore. Lamar Jackson 1-5 against Mahomes in his career, and you see the numbers when they have met. Mahomes averaging nearly 3 touchdown passes per game on a 17% better completion percentage. Here are both quarterbacks ahead of the showdown.
Yeah, I think for us, we got to start faster. I think every game we've kind of said that we haven't really got to do that. And we were moving the ball early in the game last week, but we're settling with field goals. And when you play teams that are really good and have dynamic quarterbacks like the Ravens do, you got to turn those into touchdowns.
I don't really care about what happened in the past. You know, I be mad about the situation. Don't get me wrong when it happens, but we got to get ready for Chiefs. We can't dwell on old history. We got to worry about what's going on now.
Okay, so the quarterbacks are ready to go, Dan. Both teams at 1-2, so the loser obviously falls to 1-3. It feels to me like this game is much more important to one team than the other. Which team do you think needs it?
It's Kansas City. It's a must-win for Kansas City. Staring at 1-3, also the Chargers, who have beaten them, have 3 divisional wins, and the Chargers are staring 7-0 in the face. The Chargers play at the Commanders, or at the Giants. They're going to win that game. Then they play the Commanders. Maybe. We'll see if they have Jaden Daniels or not. Then they're playing at Miami, who's struggling to figure out a way to get a win. Obviously, the Colts matchup is going to be a big one. So if you're the Chiefs and if they lose this game, we're having a realistic conversation for the first time ever under Patrick. Is like, are they going to be out of the playoffs? That's how much this game matters to them. Not only they got to play better, but they have to win this football game to stay in the conversation.
I disagree. I think the pressure is more on the Baltimore Ravens, not because, to your point, the situation for the Chiefs isn't harder than the road for the Ravens to get there, but at the same time, the Chiefs are who we think they are. They're down their 1-2 option for the majority of the season. Any other team would be like, yeah, 0-3 makes sense if you lose your 1-2 receiver. The other point is the Baltimore Ravens, for the losses they had, they should have won both games. And on top of that, if you say, all right, who is the better team between the Chiefs and the Ravens? You're going to say the Ravens. So if the Ravens drop this game again, there's serious questions about this team and why they're not winning these games that we feel like they should.
I think the noise gets louder, but when he brought it up with the division. You look at who's in the AFC North. It's the Bengals, it's the Steelers, it's the Browns. The noise is going to get louder around the Ravens, especially because defensively they're not playing very well at all. But you look at the division and the landscape of how you get into the playoffs, you can still sit back and take a breath because their offense is still playing well. It's like take care of the football and crucial situations, but they're still operating very well. Like, they'll have more time to figure out. The Chiefs don't. You look at their schedule, they got to play the Lions, Commanders, the Jaguars, Buffalo, Broncos twice, Colts, Chargers again.
Yeah.
That's where it's a real conversation. The first time ever 1-3 under Patrick Mahomes.
You can only fall so far back if you're Kansas City. I think the divisions do matter to the conversation here. If you're the Ravens, you fall to 1-3, you can look at your division and be like, we still could win this division at 10-7.
Yeah.
You know, like where the 10-7 won't get the Chiefs into the playoffs, I think, in their division.
Yeah, I think that digging yourself out of a hole from a Chiefs standpoint is much bigger of a climb than the Ravens. And I hate to bring this up because I know this guy's not known for his big brain thoughts, but Rob Gronkowski, week 1, said they were punched in the mouth after that, and they might not know who they are, and I think we're seeing that right now. So shout out Gronk for the big-brain thought.
Is that what you think is happening with Kansas City? Like, basically, what I hear Hawk saying is they're playing without Rashee Rice, they're playing without Xavier Worthy. Any team would not look like themselves. When they plug those two guys back in, and Schefter makes it sound like Worthy comes back this week, does that offense get cooking again?
I think it can, but I also think if you look at the Ravens' defense, they're bottom half in a lot of statistical categories because of who they've played in the 2 out of the last 3 games.
Right, Buffalo and Detroit.
Yeah, they're a lot better than people are giving them credit for. I like the Ravens in this game. I think their offense is just more consistent, better at getting more explosives.
Yeah.
Having Xavier is great, but I think that one piece is not going to change.
I also think Baltimore defensively is built to play against the Chiefs offensively. Baltimore's got 5 first-round picks in their secondary. They were built defensively to beat the Bengals and the Chiefs, to defend the pass. That's why they're struggling in part against teams that run the football. Now, Matabike matters a ton. Their defensive tackle in Baltimore is a big deal. But I just think if you're the Chiefs and you get Xavier Worthy back, and this is an offense right now that is average at best, it's a bottom 3 or 4 offense running the football if you take away Patrick Scrambles, you have to go win this game because I understand Xavier coming back matters and Rashee Rice coming back matter. They're not Jerry Rice and John Taylor, though. It's not going to totally revitalize and reshape the face of their offense. And so while I understand that the Ravens are a more talented football team, the Chiefs falling to 1-3 and consistently playing average football this year, that would be alarming.